Hello everyone, that's right, I am Rob Burgio, and now we are going to go right into another fringe technique. We are going to do two techniques with this one. We are going to do the arch fringe, which is like a full softer fringe that gets a little bit longer around the sides, a little bit shorter, and it's got a little bit of bevel and a little bit of layering in throughout there. So we're going to do an arch fringe that follows the contour of the face into a straight, square, blunter fringe. So how are we going to approach this? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to section off our section, talk about the depth again, and establish how thick or thin it should be. After that, we will cut it wet, and then we will dry it. And then from there, we will take you into a blunt fringe dry. All right, guys, let's get right to work. We have our model ready to go. She's been very busy. So this is Sally again, and Sally wants a full soft fringe. This is very usable. We see this all the time. Our clients are always asking for that. Just a nice soft fringe. So first thing we're going to do is section it off. So how are we going to establish the depth of this fringe? What we're going to do is just going to comb it straight back. We're going to take a central vertical section. I like to use character reference on her nose and get a nice central vertical section on the top of the head. Nice and clean. You can see we just separated it in half. From there, we're going to utilize my comb. We're going to lay the comb on top of the head. This is how we are going to establish the depth. How thick or how thin should this area be? So I'm going to lay the comb right on top of the head. Wherever the comb meets the scalp is going to be our guide right there. From then, we are going to take it to the corner of each eye. So that's one section. We will then do it on the opposite. We have our starting point right here at the top of the head. We will take that to the corner of the opposite eye. We will then check for balance. And let's make clean sections all the way throughout. So utilizing groomed, clean sections will really help us create consistency within our cutting, consistency within our fringe. So from this point here, we can decide whether we think it's too thick or too thin. So, you be the judge of it. You know your client. Talk with your client about it. Does she have elements of cowlicks that are really disruptive? Is her hair a little straighter, thick? How much is it going to dry up and shrink up a little bit? So, again, we have to analyze this every time we do a client. So we do that all the time, but maybe be a little bit more cognizant of some of these areas. Okay, so let's get right into it. So we're going to take a look at our section, and I think that's going to be pretty good. So from this point out, I am going to isolate everything else using clips. That's why we have them. Let's keep things nice and neat and organized. So we'll remove that out of the way. We'll go to the opposite side of the head and do the exact same thing, just to get this rest of her hair out of our way. And out of our life, out of our way. But you know what I'm saying. So we will clean that up here, and bam, we have our clip ready to go. And now we can get right to it. So the first thing we're going to do is we have our section now. We have our zone, our fringe zone. This is going to be the arch fringe. We will then, I am just going to take all the section, comb everything forward, and then create a horizontal section. I'm going to bring this along this. In a horizontal section, right in the front, as you can see, we're going to take a horizontal section. I'm going to start with a little thinner of a section. Again, try to keep things nice and clean and neat as much as possible, even if it takes a little extra time, guys. That's okay. I mean, the bottom line is you want to keep yourself organized. So if it takes a little extra time to get your sectioning and your partings where they need to be, then so be it. This is the fringe. This is a super important part of our clients' hair. This is the first thing they look at every day and the first thing they touch and move. And so it's got to be right on the money. And then I will be utilizing clips in between. So we have our first horizontal section. You can see different lengths because we had a different fringe in there before. So I like to utilize my comb. I'm just going to twist her sideways a little bit so you can see it. So we're going to take this whole horizontal section. And because we want a little bit arch, a little bit longer, I want everything combed towards the middle. I'll comb everything down, and then I like to put everything in the middle, and then take my comb and put it right underneath this section and establish where we want the length of her to start. So we don't want it too short, not too long. I'm going to take it right here, and I'm going to just point cut right into that. And because we have everything combed straight, it's a little bit over directed on the sides anyways. So it's automatically going to be longer on the sides. So again, we just point cut it right into a nice clean horizontal line. And then once you drop it, you can see it's a little bit longer on the corners already before we begin. So from this point here, let's take a look at it and let's tweak it out a little bit more if we need be. So again, I'll do the same thing, comb it down, point cut right into that area. We know the sides are going to be a little long because this is more of an arch fringe. Same thing on this side, comb everything down and just point cut into that a bit. And we'll take a look at her again. Comb everything down, put my comb underneath it, and I'm going to take this area a little bit shorter in the middle. Okay, so we have our first section ready to go. From there, we are going to just continue taking horizontal sections. Utilizing our water bottle. It's right, the Varus water bottle. It's got a nice misty spray. Love that. And from here, I'm going to start in the middle, if it's too much hair, and elevate it just ever so slightly. A slight elevation, and I'm going to point cut into our line that we already created, our guide of length. So again, I'm starting with the middle, slight elevation, and just continuing to point cut. I will then grab a side on the left, over direct it a little bit towards the center, and continue with our point cutting to our guide. You'll then do the same on the opposite side, comb everything straight down, over direct a bit, and continue to point cut everything to our guide. From there, we are going to continue with, guess what? Horizontal sectioning. You guessed it. Comb straight down. You can see Sally is starting to create a nice fringe here for us. So we're going to comb it straight down again. I'm going to go on the side so you can see a little bit better. Comb it straight down, starting in the middle. Elevate it ever so slightly, just a little bit, and point cut to our guide. Then we are going to take the sides of this section, comb it straight down, over directed a touch towards the middle, and point cut, and do the same thing on the opposite side. Comb it straight down, over directed touch, elevate it a little bit, and cut to the guide. Point cut. Double check it. We'll take then our final section and do the exact same thing. So we got her working it a little bit. We will then do the same thing. We're going to start in the center. We're going to comb forward. We're going to slightly elevate. We're going to point cut into our guide. Now we'll take on the sides, over directed a touch towards the middle to create a little bit more length in case we want it. And do the same on the opposite side. Grab all that from the side, right? Comb it straight down, over directed a touch towards the middle, and point cut. Now you'll see already we have our fringe and we have our longer areas, more of an arch right to the sides. From this point here, we are going to dry it, and then we will tweak it out. And then we'll get into our blunt fringe after. Okay, everyone, we just got done drying her. You can see her nice arched fringe is looking pretty good here. Now, I'd like to do one more thing when I cut this. I like to cut this dry a little bit. And I just want to show you what I want to do. So what we want to do is take a central vertical section right down the center here. I'm going to put her sideways so you can see it. A central vertical section right down the center. Now this is if we want to remove a little bit more weight in this top area, which I always like to do. And all I want to do is take a central vertical section and just comb it straight up towards the ceiling. And there's just that little corner there. I want to just take that little corner off. That's it. And we're going to bring everything to that point. That's a central vertical section. So we're going to take another parallel section, comb it straight to the middle, and then you can see that little point right there needs to be cut off. That is going to remove some of this heaviness on the top of this fringe as well. So again, everything's over directed towards the center, and anything you might see, we're going to clean up. Same thing on the opposite side. Vertical sections, combing it towards the middle, and you want to bring your teeth of your comb whatever direction you want to move the hair to. That's the direction you want your teeth facing. And this way, I'm pushing it towards the center, so my teeth are facing the opposite me, and I am just going to comb it to the center till I see that point. Boom. Take it right off. Same thing, central vertical sections. Utilizing my teeth, combing it to the center guide. And wherever we see that little section right there, we're going to take it off. Last section, same thing, combing it everything to the center. And there's nothing there. So that just lightened our fringe up a little bit. So there's your arched fringe right here. And now we are going to take you into the blunt fringe. Are you ready? Let's do it. Okay guys, now it's time to take you right into the heavy straight fringe or heavier blunt fringe. And what's the difference from taking it from an arch fringe like this, which is longer on the sides, to a heavier blunt square fringe? So we need to square this off a little bit. So you can see it's got that arch around the eyebrows. So the best way I like to do this is I would like to take this a bit shorter. So we're going to cut this all in dry hair. We're going to take a horizontal section again, utilizing our comb technique and utilizing clips to help section everything off for us. We have our section ready to go. Just going to lift her up a little bit more. Okay, and now we are going to square her off a bit. She's getting a little staticky. So how are we going to square this off? Take a look at the sides. That's a nice arch fringe right now. To make it more of a square blunt fringe, we need to remove the corners. So I'm going to utilize my comb. And I'm going to let my comb be my guide here. So I'm going to comb it straight down into a square cutting line. And I want to remove that corner right off. Gives it a whole different feel. You can just see from their new square side to the arch side what a difference that is. And we'll do the same on both sides. You can see that, again, utilizing our comb, combing it straight down and removing that corner. All of a sudden we've got more of a square type fringe everywhere. Same thing. We're going to do horizontal sections, comb everything straight down, but right now we're only focusing on the side, right? Combing it straight down, see that guide, and square off that corner. Same thing on opposite side. See that guide right there, that corner. We're going to just square it right off. Last section, same exact thing. Heavy, blunt bangs. You can see it right here. See that? And we got one last section here. Comb everything straight down. And now we have a much more square bang. But at this point, we're not done yet. I want to create a little bit more movement. So what I would like to do is take the middle section of this fringe, the interior, if you will, separate everything else, and now we are only working on the interior of this fringe, the middle of it. So from here, what I'd like to do is to lighten everything up by do some nice deep point cutting in here. I'm going to comb this straight out from the head, some elevation. You can see that right there. Straight out from the head, elevation, and we're going to do some deep point cutting. We are getting right in there. I don't know if you can see it, but literally some nice deep point cutting in that middle section, creating a ton of movement, releasing some of that heaviness there. You could utilize your comb too. Just have your comb come up, take that section, middle section, utilize your shears, and just get right in there, some deep point cutting. This is going to remove a ton of weight, add a lot of movement. Let's see. From there, we could release the top, and the top has enough weight that it'll take those short pieces, no problem, and lay it right over the top of it. We can also break up that perimeter if we want a little bit more. I like to use my little spray here just to clean that up a little bit. You just want to make sure that you have a thick enough section over the top to go over those deep point cutted interior pieces that you did. And that just kind of breaks it up a little bit more as well. Then you can just detail it as you will, utilizing comb and just breaking up that perimeter a little bit. We still want to keep it square, but if you want to just create a little bit extra movement, this is just a little detailing. From there, we have our heavy, blunt, straight fringe ready to go. Boom. And there it is, you guys. Thank you for joining me today. It's always a pleasure, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.